Like it's bad. I'm like, whoa, out. And all I do is scream. It's like, leave me alone, go away.
I'm so sorry.
It doesn't happen very often. And it's usually around some major dramatic horribleness. So it hasn't happened for a million years. Last time was in Oakland after Celeste's death.
Okay, see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? That's the symbology of it all. So even though it's not anything, hello everybody. So even though it's not,
for you to be here too. I know that.
so even though it's not, so even though it's not as, it's, I'm not going to say it's not as traumatic, all right? Because you are experiencing a death. So here's what I'm going to, so let me back up. Hello everybody. Welcome to the Chill and Chat. We're talking about symbology. So what happened is Mo came on. I'm just going to go ahead and spill I'm going to spill the tea on you, Mo. Hope you don't mind.
Good, please.
So she's got a headache. She's been waking up, and I figure this is a symbology class. The beauty of symbology is that everything is a symbol. I think about handwriting. Handwriting is a bunch of symbols that we were told expresses certain things, right? So that's why we have an alphabet. If you were to take handwriting analysis, you'll find that doodles are actually more telling than handwriting because it's more specific to who you are. All right. Symbology's been around. It's been around. I mean, think about the hieroglyphs. They're all just a bunch of symbols. So we're going to talk about symbols, how they apply to your life, how I use them in our reading, and how you can, it's just an amazing tool. So when Mo told me that she's been waking up with headaches, and then Santana says, oh, another one. So this tells me that there's something going on. Intuitively, which means I'm feeling with my body, it feels like it's more energetic than it is physical. Now I'm going to tell you that there is a little bit of physicalness happening because I can feel you in my left ova. So that has to do with creativity, that has to do with moving forward, receptivity in my symbology notebook. Okay, so that there's a certain disconnect. I'll call it a disconnect because it's not that there's a death, it's not something, but there's something that wants to happen that's not happening. And because it's not in alignment with you, you're having headaches. So I'm going to be doing a series of videos about numbers because the numerology that I do is just a little bit different than the numerology that people have been taught. And the reason mine's different is that I believe everybody's symbolic language or intuitive language is different. Okay, it's unique. Diane, you look amazing, by the way. You look beautiful. So nice to see you like that. So here's what, without finding out exactly what time it is, because you're always waking up around 6:30, if I add the numbers together, it's number 9, which is a completion. So now we're going to put it all together, that there's a completion. It has to do with receptivity, femininity, creativity. Okay, femininity is not about dolling up. It's about the spherical aspect of energy. Okay. When I think of masculine energy, I think it's more linear. And when I think of feminine energy, it's more spherical. All right. So there's something going on in your feminine energy, creativity that wants to move forward. I would probably hazard a guess, but I'm not guessing because it's a reading. I would, if this were a reading, I'd say, hey, let's take a look at how you are presenting your work. Because right now you're presenting your work very linearly and not creatively. And your creative aspect really wants to come out because that's what's going to set you apart from the rest of your business, rest of the businesses. And because because it's not, you're having a challenge. Okay, it's coming out in your head because you're in your head. If it was emotional, it will come out in your gut. All right. So, welcome to Symbology. I love that I've been thinking back on and have some kind of conversation, and then we just go for it. Something always comes up, and we get to see intuition in action, which is to me the best way to experience intuition. I believe it's way better than the language that we have, right? So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about the things in your life. Think about the things in your life, and I would like you to think of it a little bit differently. Okay, so here symbology is super broad. That includes dreams. It includes any kind of numbers that come up, any kind of animals that come visit you, Ms. Yvonne. Anytime that something is a little bit out of the ordinary, it also includes your imagination. It includes your inner sight. It includes things that you hear on the radio. Symbology is that widespread. Okay. Now, if you think about it, when you're first starting out doing this kind of work, this stuff can make you go nuts because a leaf can fall and you're like, what's that? What's that? What does it mean? And the truth is yes, it can give you a message. But it's really important for you to understand that intuition is also experience-based. So you cannot just go and look for signs. It's really important to have an experience as well. Okay. So if you have had a reading with me, you will notice that I do 3 things. Probably one of them is silent, but I do 3 things before we get started. So I say, hey, do the goofy thing. I ask for your name and I ask for your age. I actually do 4 things. So the first thing I do is I ask for the highest and best amount of information that I can give you, right? And gratitude, because you don't have to come to me. There are a million of people out there that can give you a reading, but you come to me. So there's a gratitude. Then I ask for your name, I ask for your age. We'll get to the name in a second. The age, what I do is I do this crazy thing about numerology where I add your numbers together and then I can see where you are in life. Okay, so that kind of, it paints a broad picture of where you are. Then what happens is then I get to do an energy overlay and I get to see why you are where you are, as well as see things that are coming up. Okay, so just based on those 2 things, you can go ahead and I can get a really good download for you. And then we start, and just so you know, it's all conversation starter because it's really important for you to have, to ask whatever questions you want, right? Super important. So anybody curious about their numbers or any other kind of symbology? Because I'm happy to get that started for you. I thought I'd go through all the numbers and things like that. Ms. Santana. And you don't have to stay muted. I'm all about chaos or the edge of chaos. So feel free to be, I'm not joking. If you're wondering, I'm really not joking. All right, so Santana, what's up?
So I know my number is 9 because my birthday is 2/14/64. I know my number is 9. I know this is my year 11, which is a power year. My partner is also 11 as her power year. And so, and it's 2020 and it's our portal opening. It's all these wonderful things. But for the first time in my life, I had the worst eczema of my life. I've never had eczema before. And it was a terrible, terrible thing to where my hand swelled up 3 times its size and my face swelled up so bad I couldn't see. Then it went away. And now it's coming back. And it starts with my hand.
Yep. So both hands at the same time or one hand went, or a hand one at a time?
Just calling me. Yeah, it starts with my hands, right? And you can't see it so well, but yeah, it's my right hand. It's all swollen and it's my left palm. So it's starting with my hands again. Okay. So I don't know what, now I knew the first time was obvious. It's like, oh, anger, frustration, irritation, you can name it. And then, okay, so I try to calm my ass down and things got better and I was cool. I don't know what's happening now. I'm not feeling any of that, but it's happening with a vengeance again.
All right, so is everybody okay if I do a really quick read? Yeah? All right. So
Thank you.
Santana, I just want you to know that I do my numbers a little bit differently. Okay. Okay. So how old are you right now?
56,
Okay. And then what's your partner's age?
52.
Okay. So I don't run the numbers the same as regular numerology. Why? Because it takes too long. You know what I mean? Not that I don't love numerologists and they have their own philosophy. It's amazing, but I'm all about shortcuts. I'm all about shortcuts. So so 5 and 6 together is 11. 11 to me. So usually you condense so that your numbers are between 1 and 9. Okay. The numbers that I include are 11 and 13 and sometimes 12. Okay. So you're an 11 year. 11, if you put it together, it's 2. 2 for me has to do with personal relationships, interpersonal relationships. And it's not just about your partner, the partner that you love so very much. It's about every personal relationship, okay? And how you deal with personal relationships. Then you have 11. 11 is an elevated version of these personal relationships. And I consider it a master year. So master year means that it feels like you're in college. So you learn at a really high trajectory, and as soon as you stumble really far, okay, down to the baseline. So people in 11 year, I always say take lots of breaks so that you can reestablish a higher baseline as you go along, okay? All right. Hey, Mo, I know that you're really in pain. Try one thing. Try laying on the floor with your feet up on the couch. See if that helps. All right. And if not, go ahead and hurl. Just
Right.
just do it.
It might happen.
I know. I could see you, poor thing. And you're muscling it out. It's on video. It's okay.
You're that good.
I'll have a few hundred people see this. So just hurl. You do your thing.
You're worth it.
All right. So people who are an 11 year, raise your hand if you're an 11 year, because I'm not talking to just Santana then. All
I
right?
know I'm an 11, but I'm not, I'm in a different year.
You're all right. So you're in a different year. So, and just remember, Diane, my numbers are different than others, so you'll get a different read from a numerologist.
Okay.
So, so Santana, you have to keep reestablishing baseline. So that means whenever you have a win, let's call it a win, you have to take a rest, because then you establish baseline. Because then then your trajectory goes, and if for some reason you stumble to the new baseline, not your original baseline. Okay, super important. And it's also about, so we're also talking about your relationship with yourself, higher relationship, your relationship with others on an elevated level, right? So really important. It's also important to do this with your relationships, right? So it means it's going to be super intense, so lots of times off, okay? You are not going to have any playful relationships this year. Everything will be intense. So lots of time off. Does that make sense? Okay, so
I love play. God damn it.
play is good. And I'm not saying you can't have playful time in your relationships, but each relationship has its own intensity. And the truth is that you love intensity too. If you didn't like intensity, you would not be coming to see me, because I'm a capital I, intense, lots of fun in the craziest way. That's how I am with readings, okay? So that's where you are in 11. So here's what's happening. You're going super intense and you're not giving yourself time off. This is where your eczema is coming in. So here we go. We're going to play with more symbology. So symbology is everywhere. So she's having rash. So if you think about rash, at least for me, in my dictionary, rash are things that they're disruptions. It's something that's annoying. It's something that's a little bit embarrassing. It's something that's, right? And depending on the type of rash is the type of annoyance. Because it's eczema, this is really deep and it has to do with your nerves, right? So something's on your nerves that you're not chilling on, okay? Does that make sense when I say that? All right. And then here's more symbols. It starts with your hands. It starts with your right hand, which is the giving side, and then the receiving side, and then your face. And it looks like it actually starts with your eye. Does it start with your eye, your left eye, which has to do with how you see things, right? So this could be one big long reading as we go through. But just know that it's important for you to have chill time, especially during this year. Okay. And then go ahead and have fun with your intensity. So that's your play and intensity at the same time. And know that you want to be really particular on your relationships this year, because each relationship is going to be intense. Okay, that's part of your lesson, which is great,
Crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
You know, it's
let's move
funny.
on. Yeah.
You bring up when you said 11 and then 2, and you said 2 has to do with relationships. About 5 minutes ago,
Mhm.
the palms of my hands like released.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was like, come on. Are you really? Is this really?
Yeah.
And then as I found out it's about relationships, I was like, oh, because I mean, my fingers are starting to swell up too, so I can't wear rings. And so it's starting that shit that.
Yeah. But we can talk more about that whole relationship things, because for you, it's just about redefining relationship. You have a super certain responsibility around relationship that would be kind of nice if you could reframe.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes. This eczema is, I've never had it before in my life. Now this is my second time this year. So
Yeah. It's a challenge. But does that make sense? And
yes,
then,
thank you.
yeah, and then your partner's in a 7-year. Is anybody in a 7-year? Otherwise, I'm just going to go through everybody's age and just kind of have fun with it. Nobody's in a 7-year? Oh, you poopers. So 7's about magic. And usually people who are in a 7-year have had 2 years of pretty shitty luck. And so they don't believe, they find magic to be a little bit skeptical, about magic. And so I like to call it their gun shy, right? Gun shy period, where you're like, ooh, is it safe? Is it safe? You know, so it's a little bit tentative. 7-year, it's really good. It's a good year for you to take pretty good risks. So you want to take calculated risks during this year. And the thing about 7-year is that it's hard because the years have been so challenging. It's hard to trust yourself, but it's a good year to do it. It's a really good year to do it. Make sense? We could talk about that later. Yeah. But yeah, so anybody else? Anybody else? Come on, I got a million of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Amy?
How do I determine my number?
You just, for me, if it's for my numerology, okay, what I do is I always ask for your age and your birth month. So what happens is on your age is I see if you just turned or you're getting ready to turn, right, your next year. So I go off of your age. So what's your age?
46,
Woo! What's your birth month?
February.
Good year. Here's the beauty about 1 years, one, right? So you said you're 46. 4 plus 6 equals 10. Break it down. It's a 1. 1 year is about new beginnings. A new beginning year, if you have done your 9-year with abandon, you get to have your 1 year with abandon. So a 9 year is all about completion. A 1 year is all about beginnings. So this is a year. I had a reading with someone not too long ago who had a hard time understanding this, but they're in a 1 year. So a 1 year is you get to experiment and experience as much as you want.
My reception isn't so great.
You're what? I'm sorry. Could you hear me?
I get to experiment.
Yes, you get to experiment. So if today you want to be a rancher, today be a rancher. If tomorrow you want to be IT, be IT. The thing about 1 year is that the gold is in the experiencing. Okay, so experience with curiosity and abandon. It's a year where you gather. So here's an example. In a 1 year, if you want to think about starting your own company, really invest and start your own company. And then if you decide that it's not for you, have no problem the word is pivot now. It's actually switch on over and just get a job. And then if you decide that it's not for you, get another job. This is the year where you get to experience all these things, and you get to keep these experiences in you. Just know that you're going to use it for future. All right. Does that make sense? Amy, does that make sense?
Okay.
All right. So the reason that it's a little bit hard is that people go, I don't understand, because if I'm going to invest, they think people when the word invest comes in, people think investment is all about long term. It's not. It's just do it with abandon. Do it with commitment. Commit to, I used to, when I love the 80s. I really loved the 80s because it was all about like great sexual freedom, and you get to have these like little vacation ships and things like on love for the weekend, and then be done, right? So what we were doing is that we were investing in something really intensely and then being done. So it's the same as a 1 year, but you don't have to do it with sex, right? So invest, and then when you're done, just be done. It's that experiences that you're gathering. Okay, super important. Make sense? All right. Does anybody have a 2 year? All right, this is like bingo. Anybody have a 3 year? Yvonne, you're in a 3 year. Excellent.
Well, I just by the way you explained how you did it right now with your age and you put those together. Yeah, I have a 3 year.
All right, so we're in a 3. So you're in a 3 year, but let me go ahead and put a little extra credit in. So because we're just doing numbers. And the symbol of numbers, 2020 turns to a number 4. And in my dictionary, number 4 is all about the bigger picture. Doesn't mean you don't want to get into the details, but you always want to keep in mind the bigger picture.
Okay.
Super important. Okay. So, Santana, the reading that you got, you also got to think bigger picture, right? And then Amy, with the reading you got, bigger picture. So for people who are in a 3 year, it's all about foundation, right? You can't have a stool unless it's got at least 3 legs. Okay. So what you want to do is you really want to make sure that you have a nice, strong foundation. Super important. It's usually foundation has to do, one pillar is self, the other pillar is family, the third pillar is community. Okay. And what usually happens in a foundation year is that when people look at their foundation, they usually find that they want to grow because they're getting ready for the 4 year, the bigger picture, but they don't know how to grow their foundation in order to have a bigger house. So what a lot of people do is that they'll rob from one pillar in order to build the other pillar. And that's actually incorrect. What you want to do is that you want to just expand one pillar. For a lot of my clients, they tend to spend too much time, or I won't say too much time, they tend to be experts in family situations and community situations. So then what happens is that in order to build your foundation, it's about building self. Okay, so building self. If you're already an expert in a pillar, you don't need to add to it, right? You don't need to beef up you don't need to beef up that part of the foundation. All right, so that's what you want to do. For you, it's really important for you to separate personal identity from business. So your pillar is a little bit different.
Okay.
Your pillar. Okay. Diane, did you have any questions before? Oh, she already had to hop off. I'm so sad. All right. So do you have any questions about that, Yvonne?
No, I don't.
All right. Is anybody in a 4 year? Okay, so we just talked about 2020. It's about 4. Oh, you're in a 4 year, Carrie Lee?
No, but will you please tell me how, sorry, I got on late. Will you please tell me how you're coming to the number again?
Yeah, don't apologize. It's all
Okay,
good. Don't apologize.
Right.
So here's the deal. I was telling this to Santana. this chill and chat, it is seriously a freaking chill and chat. So
Okay.
I have a loose format and I have an idea. If I get there, great. If not, it's what's really important is that we're just chatting, right? And getting to know
I
each other.
love it.
So what you're doing is you're just adding your age together, your
Okay.
numbers of your age together, right? So if you add the numbers of your age together, what's your number?
6.
Perfect. I'm gonna get to you in just a moment,
Okay.
right? That means last year was kind of shitty for you, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So 4-year, we're talking about bigger picture. 5-year, who's got 5? Anybody? If you're in a 5-year, it's really important to get as much support as possible because 5 years are super challenging. Think about all the years that you had 5 years. Now, I want you to understand that every time you hit a certain number, it adds a different flavor to it. But just know that it's the overarching theme is that thing. All right. So everybody, if you're over 32, I know Spencer, that doesn't include you. So this is what you have to look forward to. Think about 32. It was a challenging year. It was a challenging year. It was all about identity and really like strength, right? And 33, it was kind of like, whoa, right? Hero year, right? So it's the same thing. So 5 is all about change, and it's about environmental change. So what the universe is doing in the 5-year is it kind of pulls the rug from under you, right? It's like shifting sands. A lot of people go, well, it's the middle year. So it's like shifting from one side to the other. I like to call it environmental change. That's when usually something happens that we hadn't intended to happen. But we're creatures of habits. We want things to be the same. So the universe wants to shake it up and go, well, it doesn't always work out that way. Okay. So environmental change, death, loss, any kind of loss. You can have family that moves away. You can have family that all of a sudden moves in. You can have a change in job. It can be a move. It can be any of those things. All right. And it's kind of a 5-year is learning how to surf, I think is the best way to say it. Right? Keep your balance. Keep your balance. And I'm really happy nobody here is in a 5-year. Otherwise, I say, come see me. All right, 6s. So I know Carrie Lee is a 6. Any other 6s in the pack? No? All right. So here's the thing about a 6-year. And you can see it's kind of like a wheel, right? So 6-year is all about change. It's still environmental change, but you're getting out of your environmental change. So all of a sudden, you get to see that you're in charge of certain things. So it's all about finding the spiritual message or the intuitive message or the greater message as you're finding out what you can be in charge of. Okay, so it's actually always about some kind of personal victory and the thing that you learned within the personal victory. So if I were to talk, does anybody here know about the hero's journey? Yeah. Okay. So this thing about the hero's journey, I spent like 5 years learning about hero's journey, and it's fascinating. As fascinating as it was, I completely forgot about it. But basically, what happens is that you're climbing a mountain, right? And then you hit this personal peak, and then all of a sudden you fall into an abyss. Okay? Your 5-year is the abyss. And then what happens is that you start climbing back out, right? You climb back out of the up out of your abyss, and then you walk back out, right? So what happens is that if you think of 5 as your abyss, your 4 and your 6 are all about they start mirroring each other, isn't it? It's a little bit crazy. And I know I'm getting a little bit too heavy. So let me just talk about 6-year. 6-year is, what did I learn out of this shithole of a 5-year? That's pretty much it. Okay. So a 5-year, it could be, oh, I learned, I was such a control freak. I need to relax. I need to relax those sphincter muscles just a little bit. It's okay for me to spend my last few bucks on a massage, because what'll happen is that it changes me up and I can make more money. It could be, Timbuktu isn't so bad, right? It could be, oh, I don't need to be afraid of these things anymore because I just lived through it, right? I just had something happen last week, and just so you know, I'm in an 8-year, which is, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I just had something, one of my worst fears happened. 2, if I think about something that happened with me and Mo, you cannot talk about it. Okay. So, but it was like one of my worst things. And the truth is that I survived. And so I survived. And then what did I do with it? That's what a 6 year is all about. What am I doing with it? All right. So then here's a 7 year. Anybody? Anybody? All right. We'll go real. I can't believe it. So is everybody else in an 8 year? Who's in an 8 year? Spency, Mo, me, Rocky. What year are you in? Oh, you're in a 4 year, Mo?
I'm in
1-3.
You're 13. Oh, that's a good one. What are
Is
you
it?
in, Rocky?
9.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. All right. Rocky, we're going to spend a little bit of time with you as soon as we go through the rest of the numbers, all right? So, 7 year. Frida, what are you in?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Frida. You're muted. Okay, go ahead. I gotcha.
Sorry, I got on late. So I'm 39, so 12. I don't know.
Yep. So it's a 3 years. So you're with Yvonne. So it's actually a good time for you and Yvonne to like chit chat. It's all about foundation, really redoing what your foundation is, which makes sense to me for you because it's almost like you had this new discovery and now you just got to put it all in place, like Legos, right? You're like, okay, so this is where these blocks go. All right. Woo. All right. So now I'm at 7. 7 years, all about magic. Remember we talked about being what did I say? You're not punch drunk, but you're gun shy, right? You're gun shy. You kind of like, you got the flinchies. That's what I call it. You got a case of the flinchies, like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? But it's actually when magic happens because you're open to possibilities. You have just the right amount of being in charge of stuff that you're letting stuff go a little bit. Does that make sense when I say that? You're kind of like, well, based on what happened, it can't get any worse. Or based on this experience, right? I might as well give it a shot. So this is how magic happens. Crazy, but true. All right? 8, which should be everybody's favorite year. Why? Because 8 is about success. Okay? 8 is about success. Here's the trick. Success has no judgment. Okay, so all success wants you to do is have your intention meet its absolute end. So people who are having an 8 year, if you wake up and you go, I feel good, your day is all green lights, right? And you happen to find $5 on the sidewalk and, people are telling you you look good and, all these things that seem to happen, all these little gifts. If you wake up and you say, I feel kind of crappy, then success says, all right, let's make this the crappiest day ever, because that's what success wants to do. So it's really important for you to be very mindful in this year so that if you say, I feel crappy, you gotta go, hold on, I don't feel crappy, I feel tired. So I intend a very quiet day. And then success will say, okay, let's have a quiet day. And that will happen. So this is a great time for people who are at 8 years to do whatever you want to manifest. It's a great manifesting time. Make sense? All right. 9, it's all about completion. You want to do your completion with abandon, which means if anything doesn't serve you anymore, release it. Say goodbye, or at least say goodbye for now. Because what can happen is that it can upcycle itself into something else. But you got to release it in order for it to upcycle. So a lot of people in 9 years, they're going to find that, I'll just talk about my 9 year. I find I can be kind of charming, and I used to joke my way out of everything. A little jokey, disarm people, and then, get out of it. Then one particular 9 year, it came across funny. It came across as false. And so I couldn't, all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, I can't get out of stuff the way I used to get out of stuff. And it just wasn't, things just weren't working for me anymore. And what I found was that it was time to let go of that part of myself. I needed to take myself a little bit more seriously. Didn't mean that I couldn't be funny, but it was really important that I changed up the way that I handle situations. So now when I joke my way out of a situation, I'm like, I have to remember that that's not a go-to, that's, it's just one small tool in my very big toolkit. Okay, so 8's a really important year. 9's a really important year. I forgot I was already on 9. I want to stay at 8. You know, it's all about me. But anyway, so it's really important to release as much as you can on a 9 year, because again, if you release with abandon, then you get to explore with abandon. You get to experience with abandon. All right, super, super important. Okay, yes, Ms. Santana.
So this has all been interesting, and I'm so happy you said you went back to 8 because it's all about you. Thank you, because in my head I'm going, wait. I have questions about me.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing is I told you that I'm a number 9 in my 11th year.
Mhm.
Well, no, according to your numerology, I'm a 7 because I'm 214, right? So that's 7.
Mhm.
No, that's not how that works.
Just go by your
I'm
age.
56, so I am still the 11.
Yep.
Damn it. All right, see, so this is why you don't punch in the middle of a chill and chat so you can embarrass yourself publicly.
No, you're all good. So here's the deal. So intuition is all about law of attraction, right? So intuition, when I say law of attraction, is you attract, what happens is that you have this energetic field, right? It's your emotional field, your energetic field. I also call it your intuitive field because it all is housed in the same place. Your intuition actually gets to be sent out, or your energy can grow as big as or as small as you want. But what's the most important thing is that it goes by attraction. So if I felt compelled to use your whole birthday, then I know that it's time to use a whole birthday. Sometimes I don't even do the numbers because there are certain people where I come in, I'm like, holy crap, we've got stuff to talk about. I can't, I can't bullshit with this ticky-tack stuff. I really got to get into this information. The other thing I forgot to tell you is that I always ask, what's the best way to communicate with people? All right, what's the best way to communicate for the person I'm doing a reading with? And some people, they need to be really, it's really important to be sweet with them, right? For some people, it's really important to be direct. For some people, it's important to disarm them or distract them. So if you find that I'll say, hey, let's pull a card. Here's what's happening. There's something that you don't want to talk about. So we're going to put the focus over here, right? It's like an illusionist. Let's put something over here for you to focus on so you can hear all the information, because that's the most important thing that needs to happen. Okay. So that's what's really important. So Frida's a 13, right? Is that what you said, Frida? You're a 4 and you're a 13? Or somebody a 13? Mo's a 13. All right, so here's the deal for me and 13. 13 for me is an incredibly magical number, okay? I still can't figure out, I keep forgetting, so to me it must not be important, why 13 is a bad number. For me, 13 is a very magical number. So what's happening, it's all about the bigger picture, but it's also deals with the mysticism of it all, or the magic, or the ritual of it all. So it's really important that when you think about big picture, that you have, that you actually incorporate the mysticism of it all, right? So this is not the year for you to go big picture and just take a look at your checkbook and look at your calendar and look at no, this is the time where you want to sit and you want to go, all right, and you're having headaches. So this is all so this is time where you want to sit, you want to call on your guides, you want to call on everybody, you want to kind of go, here's my counsel, this is what needs to happen, and sit in and go, what's the bigger picture? And based on the bigger picture, what do I do today? Okay, 13 years are awesome. Awesome.
Interesting here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, super, super interesting. It's a really, big, interesting year. And just know every year there's work, right? But that doesn't mean it has to be like painful.
And
So,
next year I turn 50, so 5, yay.
big change, right? So everything that happens at 50, first of all, I hope you have a huge party, because that's what you need to do.
Huge what?
Party.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. Frida was part of my 50th birthday party.
Yeah.
She did freaking flash tattoos. I had it at a circus school with the DJ and acrobat classes and readings and food.
Fun.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. It was kind of a big deal. So I hope you do. I hope you have a big party. And then just be prepared for change. And remember, so the more that the more that you're ready, you're willing to shift with the change, the better, the easier it'll be. And like I said, it's like learning to surf. Okay. So
Yeah.
symbology. Okay. So symbology is everywhere. We ran through all the numbers just because it's the easiest thing to do, and I kind of apply it to everybody. But if you take a look at Carrie Lee, I'm going to spotlight her right now. I hope you don't mind, Carrie Lee. But I'm going to spotlight her video, right? She's doing some pretty crazy cool artwork.
Mhm.
And actually, Frida, I would love to spotlight your stuff too, artist to artist. And so everything has a meaning. So if I were to go look at the symbology of what Carrie Lee's working on right now, right? So I will say that this is a very feminine picture. Carrie Lee's all about the feminine anyway. But here's the thing, everybody, really quick. We're not doing any kind of class or anything, but very quick, take a look and tell me what you are attracted to. What is your eye attracted to? All right, and just let me know. And just go ahead and shout it out loud, because I'll tell you what it is for me. For me, Carrie Lee, what you're working in the upper corner with her hair is fab, and that's where my eye is drawn. Even though I know you're known for like your expressive eyes. That is exactly where it's all going. So everybody else, what were you drawn to? What are you drawn to? The what?
The corner.
That corner.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any different for anybody else? Frida?
The jawline.
The what? The jawline?
Yeah.
Awesome. It's super strong, isn't it?
Mhm.
All right. Anybody else?
The
Go ahead.
glow overall.
The overall glow. Is that you, Spence? So it's about the gold?
Yeah.
Great. Who else?
I like the same thing up in the upper corner because it's so unlimited. It could be thoughts, it could be releasing, it could be attaining, it could be all kinds of things into this strong person. And it actually kind of symbolizes a lot of our lives, I would think, all the in and outs.
Right. So did Yvonne, did I hear from you?
For me, it was that hair on the side too.
Okay. Did I get everybody? Amy, did you have a chance to talk? Amy, I'm admitting you again. I think it's her name. So here's the deal. I'm going to use this just as a Amy, do you get to chime in, Amy? What is it that you're attracted to from Carrie Lee's painting? Oh wait, you need to unmute, and I don't know which one to unmute. Okay. The furthest, did you say the furthest? My lip reading sucks. Hang on, I just asked you to unmute. Okay, the feather in the upper right. The feather in the upper, I think that's the same as what we're all saying in the upper corner, right? So what's happening is that our intuition has used our law of attraction, and it's making a communication. And because it's a symbol, it's not giving us direct language. Now, let me rephrase that. It is giving you direct language. The language is not that of, it's not that of speech. Okay, so now what is really important is for us to go, what does that mean and why am I attracted? This is why it's so super ass cool to be an artist, because everybody's going to get something out of it. The worst thing that could ever happen in my mind, and I artists key in, I think the worst thing that can ever happen in art is if you have no opinion. You actually just walk on by it, like you don't even see it. What do you think, Frida? Would that be the worst thing that could happen to you?
Not everything resonates with
That's true.
everybody.
Right. And that's so mature, because I would have been crushed, right? I'm like, oh, people don't see it. But you're right. So it does, you're right. Not everything resonates. So here's the thing. Symbolically, something is calling to you. So what I'm going to do is everybody has their own dictionary, their own symbolic dictionary. The odds of someone being able to communicate just like you, does everybody know the number? Because I love saying it. Anybody?
1 in
Is it
86
1 in 38 trillion or something?
Close. It's 1 in 68 trillion. And just so you know, that number is from the early aughts. So I have a feeling it's a lot different now, right? Maybe in the late 90s. But anyway, so everybody's dictionary is going to be different. So and I love that Carrie Lee I'm sure is very deliberate in her fanning. No? Even better. Even better. So here's what I'm going to say. Well, what does a strong jawline mean to you, Frida, symbolically? Because everybody's different.
I've been working a lot with my heart chakra, so I think I'm attracted to the green.
The green of the jawline?
Yeah, and working on the throat chakra, so I think it's like here, but also like set your jaw, like set your intention and like power forward, like, oh.
And I would agree with you, right? Because that's what a jawline is to me. It's all about how you're setting your intention. And I love that the throat chakra is green, especially for you, because that means it's growth, right? Growth in the throat chakra. For Spency Poo, right? So sorry, Spencer. I'm so sorry. But for Spencer, because it's about the overall glow, what do you think that means, Spence?
I feel like it has to do with my two thoughts are either like the flashiness of it, or it's sort of like, for me, is and symbolizes like empowerment, sort of.
Absolutely. You actually used the word. The word was glow. So for you, it's all about glow, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that you're working on right now, which is, hey, what's the thing that makes me stand out? What's the thing that makes me glow? What's the thing that makes me really happy? What's the thing that, right? What's the thing that's going to make me shine? So, and so it's a really important thing to do. And you're in an 8-year with success, right? So this is the year to start doing things that make you stand out. All right. So I love that you're doing, so just so you know, Spencer teaches classes, martial arts classes online. And so this is actually a good thing for you, Spencer, because you're standing out. You are noted as a leader. You see what I'm saying? So the more you do that this year, the more it will enhance your 8-year. Okay, does that make sense? And then for those of us who are looking at I think Santana said it really well, right? It's about this unlimitedness. I love that there's upper sweeps. I love that this woman is looking forward. So it's a forward movement, and it's an upward movement. And it's all about these healing colors, right? So I would say these are all of us who are really working on our intuitive selves on a healing aspect. Okay, so it's all the way that we work our dictionary, but I have a pretty good idea that it's all fairly similar.
I'm going to say too, I think it's really cool that people, not that I know any of you very well, but I love that you picked at this picture about what resonates with you, because my other thought with it too is it feels very androgynous.
Yeah.
And Cynthia, you were like, well, and you named her female. And I'm wondering if any of the guys go, well, that's my dude. And then I am seeing, I feel female, male in that whole thing. So I think it's symbolic about what we pull out of it is what we see in ourselves.
Right. So let's talk about this about intuition. And what's really important for us to know about our intuition. Again, 1 in 68 trillion, right? But intuition has 3 components. It's energy-based, it's experience-based, and it's emotionally based, okay? Energy, experience, emotions, the 3 E's. And so based on your experience and your emotions and your energy, of course, you know, you extrapolate, right, your stuff. It reminds me of that story of the 5 blind men who felt the elephant and they described what they were feeling. You know the story, right? One had the ear and they talked about it. One had the tail and they talked about it. One had the trunk. And they're all right. The thing is that if I were to ask all of you to give me a reading, I could be getting 8 different readings and you would all be absolutely correct. Okay? That's the important part because it's coming from the energy that we share, right? And it's about an experience that we connected on, and it's that we are on the same emotional level.
Interesting.
All right? So that's what's really important. I want you to know that symbology comes in all forms. There's a reason why I like feng shui, right? Because there are symbols in there. There's energy and symbols. Tarot, energy and symbols. Dreams, love dreams, energy and symbols. Okay? You can take anything and turn it into a reading based on that symbol. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you develop your dictionary, as you put it? So great. Okay, I recognize there's a symbol here, a thing, a
Yeah.
number, whatever. How do you develop and know what that means? You start asking yourself questions?
Yeah, actually, it's about practicing and finding the people who will work it with you, right? So it's funny you should ask. I'm going to be setting up a 3-week, 3-class series, and it's going to be Shortcut Tarot. And really, Shortcut Tarot is it's taking a deck of cards and helping you understand intuition. The thing that I love about Shortcut Tarot is you start off with a deck of playing cards, and you can't dispute it. You can't dispute it. It just comes out. So what happens is that as we start working these exercises, it builds trust. And that's all that it's all about. It's about building trust because everybody has intuition. Everybody uses their intuition. Not everybody uses their intuition consciously. And that's where it's a challenge. And that's where I like to live. I like to live in showing people just how intuitive you are and how your life can be so much simpler when you use it consciously, right? And we don't have to talk woo. You just, you don't have to say always, the energy directed me or the guides. It's just like, hey, this is what I got. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm listening. Make sense?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, which is actually a great segue. I'm going to be having 2 3-class series. One is all on Shortcut Tarot, which is a series of 3 classes, and it's all about building your symbology. And the other one is going to be fun because it's energy related, and it's energy versus entity. So it has to do with houses, it has to do with spaces, it actually has to do with people as they sit and split energy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next week, to kind of go along with that, I'm going to be interviewing this crazy cool cat. Her name's Janet Louie. You've seen her on the Facebook page. She's been posting about the plant towers, which is great. But she's a feng shui practitioner, and she does Batsi astrology, Chinese astrology. So she takes that symbology to an expert level. So I'm an expert at street symbology.
Nice.
It's all very experience based. If you were to know my teacher, just so you know, her name is Connie Jackson. She's all of almost 82 years young. I just saw her the other day. But she is self-taught. She is self-taught, and she's crazy cool, and she doesn't swear like a sailor like she used to, but you know, she's a perfectly imperfect teacher, which makes her perfect for me. So, oh yeah, Kimberly Lee actually does know about my shortcut tarot class.
I do.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It
Yep.
is it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's
Can I just make one comment about this painting, just because it's affirming what you're saying? So I paint what's called intuitively. I don't know what's coming next. I don't know what this is about. I have a hunch, and I think you were all right, all correct, in terms of your interpretation of it. And I just do it step by step, and I just listen basically, and then everybody gets to interpret. So thank you, and thank you for letting me paint. I'm on a deadline as usual. So.
No, I think it's great. It was funny. I was going to use something in the background here, but it was way more organic with you. So thank you. It's so much better. So much better. So I am getting ready to take the intuitive teaching to a different level, and we'll talk more about that later. But it's about what I found is that people love calling me edgy, which I think is hilarious. Cause you know, I don't know. I don't know. I guess in the woo world, I am a bit edgy. I don't know, but a little bit street, a little bit old school, not quite OG, definitely Oakland. But what I'd like to do is, these are a series of just small little tasters of what you can actually do with your intuition and all the crazy places you can take it to. My favorite story is that I have a friend who was a cardiologist. The only reason I say was is because she's retired. I trained with her for many years, and she was diligent in her intuitive practice. And she didn't do it to do readings. She did it so that she could be a better healer for her patients. And so when she got promoted to chief cardiologist, she was supposed to release her clients and work with staff. The problem with that is that she could hear she listened so well to her clients that they didn't like the care that they got from the other cardiologists.
Yeah.
So she ran into a different set of challenges. But that's the thing about edgy intuition. Your edgy intuition, you get to take it wherever you want and do with it whatever you want. And it is amazing. It's amazing how it can transform your work and the work and just the energy of people around you.
Yay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Since you're asking,
Yeah.
I have my numbers wrong, and you were talking. So I am the 11, and my partner is not 7; she's 6. So can you speak like 30 seconds to an 11 and a 6, because I want to figure out about this.
Yeah. All right. Really quick. When's her birthday?
January 6th.
All right. So she's solidly a 6, right? She's solidly a 6, right?
No, that's 7, right?
How old is she?
January 6th is 7.
No, I'm talking about age. I don't
Oh,
do
51. Yeah.
She's 51.
Yeah.
So she's solidly a 6. So
Yes.
here's the deal. 6 is all about, so she's coming out of change, and you're coming out of an identity thing, right? So you changed your identity last year, and she was going through huge change last year. Not a really good time for you guys to connect, because both of your languages are all fucked up, right? You're like talking one language one day and another language another day, and she's doing the same thing. So it's really hard for you two to connect. That doesn't mean energetically you couldn't connect. It just meant, right, when it came to language, it was hard to express. So now what's happening is that she's on a place where she's looking at spiritual messages, and you're looking at things on a higher level of relationships. Okay, so here's what's happening. You guys can have 5-minute conversations, just one 5-minute conversation a day, and you will feel completely connected with each other. So don't feel bad if you don't really talk to each other, but then you have this super intense connection, and then you don't have a thing, because you are all you're both in your own space. So it's really important for you to have those spaces. It's also really important for you to understand that her language is going to be different from your language. Your language is actually going to be a little bit more on the physical level, and hers is going to be a little bit more on the spiritual level. So sometimes you're going to go, I just want to know what the hell we're having for dinner. and she's going to talk about, right, this other thing. But you know, just elevate yourself, because remember, you're all about the relationship. She's not about the relationship right now. And so just shift your earbuds a little bit and go, this is what she's talking about. And then you have to be the one to translate it within yourself. And just know that whatever you say, she's going to interpret it on the spiritual level anyway. So you get to say whatever the hell you want.
Mhm.
Right? Fish and chips. And she'll go, oh, fish and chips. Right? All right.
You've been around. You've been in my house.
Does anybody have any questions about this?
Thank you.
No? No, I thank you. I have way fun doing this on Fridays. So thank you so much. Tell your friends. I'm happy to do chill-in chats for as long as people are interested. And if you find that you have a topic you want to talk about, just message me and I'll make sure to throw it on the list. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about ghosts, entities, energies. We're going to be talking about, right, all that kind of stuff.
And the Lion's Gate.
What's that?
The Lion's Gate.
I don't talk that language, so I have to find out what Lion's Gate is so that I can go ahead and put it in my language.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about it either, but it's been coming at me to figure it out. So it's a topic coming up, and apparently it's August 8th, so it's 8/8, and it has some deep symbology to it.
Great. Oh, we can talk about rituals. We'll talk about that. We can talk about all that kind of stuff, right? We can talk about another thing that I like talking about is our karma versus our lineage karma. Super fun. Right? All right. So many things to talk about, party people. So many things. So I'll catch you all on another Friday. And one last thing. You guys, I'm doing an experiment, and I'm hoping that you can help me out. So I'm trying to move all my appointments to my website. So it's going to be automatic. And for doing that, what I'm going to do is all my readings are going to be 50% off. So you can do a 15-minute reading for a very small, or a half an hour reading for 50%, or a 1 hour reading, and I'll give you the coupons, and then we're going to see how that all shakes out. All right? That's it. All right, everybody. Have a really good time.
Have a good weekend.
Cynthia, you want to hang out?
I will call you back, and I'll call you, okay, Santana?
It's all good.
I'm stopping the live stream, and then I'm stopping